Good morning, everybody. It's 9 o'clock here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. We continue to follow breaking news around a fatal crash affecting the Concord area. This is on I-85 near Concord Mills Road. Our Destiny Richards here on scene now with the latest as we check in with you. And Destiny, just an awful accident here.
That's right. Early this morning, 2 people dead, 2 injured in this crash that happened just about a mile before the Concord Mills Boulevard exit, 2 miles before the I-45 exit here on I-85 southbound. Now, looking behind me here, there have been some developments. It seems that traffic is being allowed to pass by the scene of the crash on the shoulder, and then they'll be able to pass by all of the crews and the vehicles that are stopped here, and then get back onto normal I-85 southbound traffic. But definitely a horrible scene this morning. We are seeing some cars being towed away. At least one car has been towed away, a white vehicle, and then there's still a vehicle that's flipped upside down. That's where most of the crew invests over there. They're surrounded by, we had some front loaders here. We still have front loaders here cleaning up debris at the scene, and then there's a red SUV that is smushed on the front side. But still a long backup. It kept growing for most of the morning, but it looks like traffic is being allowed to pass by just on the shoulder. But still, all lanes for right now closed. And yeah, this is going to be at least a closure until 10 o'clock, NCDOT is saying, but of course we'll continue to track it and to monitor it. But for now, I'll send it back to you, Jade, in the studio.
Destiny, do you know how this happened or what led up to this multi-car crash?
Yeah, right now we haven't received any info from state troopers or NCDOT about the circumstances that led up to the crash. All we're seeing right now is what it looks like the vehicles that have been stopped in the area. There's 2 tractor trailers that are stopped here. Again, one white vehicle that was stopped here, a red SUV that was smushed on the front, and then a vehicle that's upside down. So don't know what the circumstances were. Still waiting to get that information, but multiple cars involved and sadly 2 people killed.
Just an awful situation, awful scene there as we see those wheels to the sky. Destiny Richards, thank you for the latest covering that scene, I-85 southbound near Concord Mills Boulevard. And so as you can expect, traffic is impacted. We saw there in the little corner box how bad it is. At times, traffic is being let through, like Destiny said, but with all of that wreckage, and we see a lot of troopers conducting the investigation, obviously still in the cleanup and investigating stages. It is truly just a sad situation. Our Majestic Storm, who has been covering this crash, now joining us here in the Live Impact studio. And Majestic, I can't imagine how this has been impacting the morning rush.
We've been traffic alert basically all morning long because of this. I-85 shut down. I mean, that's huge. A lot of people travel on I-85 coming in from Concord, coming in from Salisbury, trying to take I-85 southbound to get onto 485, or just eventually to get you a little closer to uptown. It's a very well-traveled place without an accident, so when you have something so tragic like this really, really impacts hundreds of thousands of people. So this is one of our cameras. I want to show you a couple of the different cameras just to give you kind of perspective. So when you're looking at this, the right-hand side, that's the northbound lanes, moving very slowly, actually kind of crawling, but it's those southbound lanes that are being highly impacted by this. You can still see those flashing lights there, but behind that sign is where the traffic has been just stalled out. I'll tell you what though, I haven't seen any cars be able to move through all morning long. This is the first time that I'm actually seeing cars able to move beyond that sign there. Let me show you another one of our live cameras just to give you more perspective on what that's looking like. This right here still showing you that those cars are at a stop. Again, if you're just tuning in, we've been following this deadly crash. 2 people killed this morning, 2 others sent to the hospital involving a tractor trailer, at least a couple of other cars involved in this. I've been showing this live camera a lot this morning. I-85 out towards George Liles Parkway. I mean, this is the morning commute for hundreds of thousands of people to take that I-85 inbound commute. So very, very impactful. Let me see if I can pull up just one more. This is kind of off to the distance. All lanes from that perspective, just showing you that it is completely blocked. Again, seeing delays on I-85 around mile marker 49 is where it's kind of starting. This is mile marker 53, and this is going to be ongoing. NCDOT has not said 100% when it's going to open up, but around 10 o'clock was the last estimated time. Once I switch it over to my graphics here, I'm going to show you kind of perspective as to where this is at. It's going to be northeast of Uptown right here. Again, the purple here on my map, that indicates a blocked area roadway. So I-85 shut down, very important, and honestly just heartbreaking, the reason for it. 2 people lost their lives this morning because of a car crash. Beyond this is now about a 7 to 8 mile delay that's taking you even farther north. So bottom line, you don't want to take I-85 southbound. Really, your best alternate route is going to be to take Highway 29 instead. That's Concord Parkway inbound. I've looked at a couple of different cameras that does show Highway 29, and for the most part this morning it's been flowing okay. At this point there is a little bit more traffic as more people are, learning about the crash, trying to avoid I-85, maybe putting it into their GPS, trying to get around it. So avoiding I-85 southbound, that's your best bet. Highway 29 would be your best alternate route, but overall just a really, really sad situation. We've been on this for you all morning long. Traffic alert because of it, and again, there's the actual crash there. Still, dozens of emergency responders there trying to help those that were involved, trying to get it cleared ultimately at this point, because it's been a couple of hours since the accident. But just about 30 minutes ago, I wasn't able to see any cars move beyond those flashing lights. So at this point, once you look to the left, you can see a couple of cars are able to now move.
Yeah, and I mean, Majestic, although 29 is probably the only way, that looked like it was certainly stop and go as well for a good chunk of that portion too.
Yeah.
So really, like out of Concord, just maybe, like you said, GPS and
I think
that
that's the best bet.
long way around, but at least avoid a lot of these this gridlock and stop and go traffic. That is just.
And hopefully by 10 we'll have an update as to if it's cleared, if they need more time.
Right.
And again, if you're just tuning in, we don't know what caused this. We know that it was obviously a very big, serious crash, but we don't know exactly what caused it. We had a viewer call into the newsroom early this morning who just saw it, and he was the first one to tell us that a tractor trailer was involved, a couple of other cars as well. So we always appreciate viewers telling us whether what you're seeing out on the roads, whether you're watching in the sky. It's always really, really helpful.
All right, Majestic, thank you for that update. She's got to hang around, folks, because we do have to check out our weather. We're looking forward to the weekend, of course, and we also have some rain, I believe, on the way. Majestic's got to get y'all covered here after the break. We'll be right back on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Okay, y'all, it's Friday. We need to regroup. We need to have a good weekend to just sort of bring in the spring, Majestic.
Yes, good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Yes, put on your weather hat now and give us the sunshine that you are.
We're ready for spring-like conditions, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm feeling like spring. I have to tell you guys something before I start my weather.
Please.
Okay.
Yesterday I had a big day, and I'm so excited
What?
because, hold on, I'm going to show you. And I'm sharing with everyone else.
Look. Hold
you
on, let
guys
me pull
see
it up.
this?
Okay, now
Look
we do.
at how cute it is.
It's a bunny.
Is
I
this-
was feeling like spring. This is at my house right now.
Is this
what-
the Easter Bunny? Are you fostering? What are you doing?
Okay, I found this girl in Charlotte.
Okay.
She has a homestead where she has all these different farm animals. She has her kids on her land that helps her raise these animals, learn about different farm animals. And recently I lost my cat that I've had for 20 years. So I've been so sad and I miss
Aw.
having like a small little companion, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I think I need a bunny. So this girl here in Charlotte, she rents bunnies for a week. You can
What?
rent a bunny. She gives you everything that you need, the most cuddly bunny you've ever had in your whole life because they're socialized from little tiny babies.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like sitting there cuddling this sweet little baby. So I'm going to like put
Wait,
it in
that
a
bunny is
harness.
a baby?
Well, I actually don't know how old it is,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's not full grown because I did have full grown bunnies before and it's not
Okay.
full grown.
How big are we
I had a
talking?
rabbit.
It's probably like about this big.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That's
That's smaller than a football.
manageable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Okay.
I'm going to put a little harness on her and take her like to a field and
Oh
just
my
like
God.
lay out on a blanket, maybe have a little wine and have my bunny. And that is my therapy this
please
weekend.
That sounds fabulous.
Yes.
Yes, I want you to. I want to see the bunny on the leash
But like
with a glass
I
of
kind of
wine in
want
the field.
headphones in because I don't want people at the park like coming up to me because I'm just trying to like have a zen moment.
Yes.
If you see me and you really don't want to see the bunny, we can make it happen. But
Right.
other people, I just need a me moment in the middle of the field.
But
You
that
want
is
bunny
such a
time.
unique thing that people would be like, "Oh my God,
I know.
she got a bunny."
And what she does is so cool because it's like a lot of people love bunnies, but they're a huge commitment. They're
Yes.
a very hard animal to
Yes,
have
they
too. So
are.
it's fun just for a week, and they're especially for little kids to like
Right.
learn
Yeah.
how to be gentle with little babies and like learn how to care for stuff like that. For me, I just wanted to cuddle on a bunny for a week.
Wonderful.
Adorable.
All right, shout out to the bunny woman homestead family.
Is there a name for this bunny?
Where'd you find
Well,
them?
we can come up with a name because we have it for a week. So I'm either thinking Honey Bunny or Rodeo.
Rodeo. I like
And it's
that.
kind of a calico.
Because
It's a
I was gonna say
calico
'cause
color.
it has sort of
I like
cowboy.
rodeo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
rodeo it is.
Rodeo is
So follow along on my adventure. I'm gonna do a little bunny vlog on my
On
Instagram.
your Insta.
For
All right,
fun.
what's your handle?
Majestic_storm14.
Perfect.
There
or
you
just
go.
search Majestic
Follow
Storm. And
along.
hopefully
All right,
I'm the only one that pops up.
Boom. Majestic and Rodeo
This
are
is
in a
so
field.
cute. Yes.
Do not bother her
Don't
though.
bother us.
Moment, you know?
Let Majestic
feeling
and Rodeo
like
have
spring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zen.
Yes.
All right. Which field should we go to here? Should we go to like Norman, Dallas?
I live by this big soccer field, so I already have an
Oh.
idea where I'm going.
Fine.
Anyways, it's not too far away from Carlene, so she
Oh
might.
my gosh, I would love to.
You might need to come
I'll
see
see you
Bun
from afar,
Bun.
'cause I'm gonna let you have your
Well, you
moment.
could come. All right, let's get
All
to
right.
the weather. Here
All
we
right,
go, everyone.
Fine.
It is going to be a beautiful day. We're starting out still with a lot of cloud coverage for some places, but the sunshine is starting to break through the clouds. We even had a little bit of fog this morning. This is a good camera. This is Charlotte Motor Speedway right there. And off to the distance, this is one of the cameras that I was looking at earlier, Highway 29, that a lot of people were taking instead of I-85. And at this point, it seems like it's actually flowing pretty nice. In this background, this is going to be downtown Monroe. Still a little bit of low-lying clouds. Otherwise, everything will push out. And we're looking at sunny conditions this afternoon. Record high temperatures, though. That's a big weather story. If you liked the warmth yesterday, you're going to love today's. This upcoming weekend, we're talking warm weather. It'll actually feel a little bit humid at times. I felt that coming into work today. I mean, it's not summertime humidity where it like smacks you in the face when you step outside, but still noticeable if you're paying attention. Isolated thunderstorms will be possible, especially Saturday night and into Sunday. And then next week, more record highs are possible. Here's our satellite and radar. So for the most part, things are looking just fine. I do want to zoom in just a little bit off to the west. You can see a couple of those little cells starting to pop up there. This is outside of our viewing area, but this is kind of what we're expecting as we're heading toward this upcoming weekend. You see how isolated it is? That's the setup for us. Those isolated storms, they can form. And what do storms love? They love warmth. They love humidity, and then they have the ability to form. So now that we're talking about severe weather season, if those storms form this weekend, especially on Saturday, they may have the ability to quickly turn strong. We'll talk more about that, but let's stick with some really good conditions outside. Beautiful sunny skies, 67 degrees right now. Here in Charlotte, 55 in Boone, and it's still early. It's just after 9 o'clock this morning, and we're already nearing 70 degrees. So if you want to get outside today, it's going to be a great overall day. That fog that I mentioned, it's tricky. This is going to be south of Uptown where we see those colors, the reds, the oranges. That's where you're really socked in with dense fog. That's from Lancaster over towards Chester, even Monroe. Visibility less than a mile at times. So while you're traveling, all of a sudden, you may encounter such dense fog where it makes it very, very hard to see. And then you just travel a little further, and then all of a sudden, clear sunny skies come out of nowhere. That's the trend this morning. That fog will really start to mix off. I would say within the next hour, we shouldn't have much more fog to deal with. And then the rest of the day today, partly sunny skies, high temperatures should be around 82 degrees. That's going to be a high record. Our current daily high record for today, it's 80 degrees, set back in 2022. So we should shatter that, not having an issue there. Over the next 10 days, so going from 82 degrees today, back into the upper 70s tomorrow. So a little drop in temperatures, but really we should be at 61 degrees this time of the year. That's the norm. So while it is going to be a little cooler, you could say, it's still going to be very, very warm. A reason why temperatures on Sunday will drop down into the mid 70s will be because of cloud coverage. So there will be quite a bit of cloud coverage that we'll be dealing with between Saturday, but especially on Sunday. Temperatures climb back up. Look at this. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 3 days in a row, and early next week was still very warm temperatures, almost 90 degrees on Wednesday. Then after that, we have a strong cold front pushing through. That's going to pull in cooler air, still above our average when we're looking at those highs. But then eventually, next week is giving us some indication. Typically when you have two different air masses, one that's really warm, one that's cooler, once they clash, we're talking about storms. That's how storms oftentimes form this time of the year. So while we do have a small risk this weekend, they would be very isolated. It seems like next week we may have more of a widespread impact. 10-day forecast as far as the rain goes, no rain today, small chances tomorrow, and then Sunday. If you have outdoor plans on Sunday, keep your eye on the sky. That's going to be the day where we will have much more cloud coverage and the possibility of seeing some storms. This is kind of our big picture perspective or future cast. So here's 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Do you see that line of really that's thunderstorms? It's extending from Louisiana, Texas, Arkansas, through the Tennessee and Ohio Valley. That's going to be pushing towards us. Now, once it hits our mountains, a lot of it is going to break apart. But could a couple of those isolated storms still fire up and develop? I think it could be possible. The National Weather Service also indicating that if they do on Saturday, we need to be ready for the possibility of a couple of them turning stronger. So let's slow this down a little bit more. As we're heading into the afternoon, I think it's going to be a really nice day. Up in the mountains, could you have a couple of random sprinkles late in the day? Sure, but honestly, it's such a small amount that I'm not really concerned about it at all. Overnight tonight and into Saturday, this is important. Tomorrow morning, when you're waking up on your Saturday, I like to wake up, drink my coffee, open up my curtains, and always look to see what the weather's like. And it's going to be cloudy when we start our day tomorrow. But those clouds, they're not going to stick around all throughout the day. Saturday afternoon, we'll start to see those clouds start to taper off, and then we should be good to go. This is what I'm talking about. This is late Saturday and into Sunday with those storms that could form. They're very isolated, but could they bring brief heavy downpours? Yes. Could they bring some lightning strikes? Yes. And gusty winds as well. And because we're in severe weather season, I do want to hit on this part. This is a big part of the weather forecast across the nation today. The Storm Prediction Center is highlighting so many states for the threat of strong to severe storms, especially that area shaded in red. That's concerning. That includes Arkansas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri. Just to the north of that, that's where thunderstorms will have the ability to actually produce tornadoes. And then tomorrow, that threat, it shifts to the eastern half of the United States. So while we just have a little small chance of severe weather, a low-end risk, it's not zero. So I always like to point that out. It's important to know if you're going to be out and about to just be mindful that storms, if you see clouds start to roll through, it's always a good idea to even just pull out your phone. You can look at the WCNC app and you can look at our radar and you can see if any storms are within proximity, because if they are, the ingredients are in place for some of them to turn stronger. And then this weekend we are turning our clocks ahead, we're springing forward, and just to put things into perspective, so our sunset Saturday night will be at 6:25. Then our sunset on Sunday will be at 7. Sunset on Saturday will be at 6:25, and then as we're heading through Sunday, it's going to be at 7:26. So we're seeing a much bigger difference there. Those early bus stop forecasts, they're going to be a lot darker. So as those kids are waiting outside come Monday morning, the sunlight isn't going to be out quite yet. So also just keep that in mind. Here's a Jury Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast. Lots of warm weather coming our way. Some rain and storm chances, and overall, I think really the big talker will be record warmth. It is going to be, I would say, hot by next week. Wow, Wednesday, 87 degrees.
That is crazy. So Sunday's not a washout, you say?
Yeah, definitely not a washout, but I think could we have some showers? Yes. Could we have some clouds? Yes. And then those storms we'll have to watch for too.
Okay.
Very isolated though. Isolated means like they'll pop up here randomly, then it'll pop up here randomly, that type of thing.
No way to say if it's going to be foothills versus the city or out to the east. All right, well, that's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's going to be spring cleaning, and
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to have a field, but I'm going to have the wine part.
You don't have rodeo.
I won't have the bunny.
Yeah.
I won't have the field. I'll have the wine.
You'll have maybe
outside.
a balcony
A balcony
with a view,
yes.
perhaps.
Yes, this is what I will have.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
I went to a restaurant last night, like out on the lake, and it was so pretty. It was just beautiful, and the weather felt so nice. So it's like officially patio weather.
Yay.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what
Love
we're
it.
here for.
Love it.
All right, Majestic Storm, thank you very much for coming
course.
in. Love the good news for the weekend, right? We deserve one. And we'll be right back on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Back here now at 9:25 on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Want to take you out to Chicago for a live picture right now where thousands are going to fill this church in Chicago for what's being dubbed as the People's Celebration, a public celebration for the late Reverend Jesse Jackson, making his impact, of course, all over the country, but later in his life calling Chicago home. Thousands are expected to gather, like I said. Doors opening at 9 o'clock Central Time, so that's 10 o'clock our time. And so folks are just lined up there waiting for the doors to open here in the next 35 minutes or so. But inside, it looks like some at least family members, the choir, some VIPs are already inside this large church.
They just laid down that floor arrangement around the... in the front.
Around the front?
Yes.
Okay. So they're still putting the finishing touches before the public ceremony begins as we pan down there. The House of Hope Church in Chicago's Pullman neighborhood, again, just part of a series of homegoing services remembering the civil rights leader. So we will continue to follow that. Again, that public celebration will be held at 11 o'clock Central Time in Chicago, and so that will be noon here. Turning to national headlines right now, as DHS Secretary Kristi Noem has been let go from her position as Secretary of Homeland Security. Alice Barr with the latest from Washington on NBC News for WCNC Plus.
He's made it a cornerstone of his Make America.
This morning, Washington and the nation reacting to President Trump firing Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem following a string of controversies as she led the administration's immigration crackdown.
She has completely destroyed the high ground that Republicans had.
I am so happy that one of the worst administrative leaders I've ever seen is gone, but the agency itself is still reckless and out of control.
The Department of Homeland Security right now operating in a shutdown, with Democrats pushing to overhaul ICE and Border Patrol. President Trump praised Noem's work sealing the border, while a White House official pointed to mounting frustrations behind the scenes, culminating in a Capitol Hill grilling this week over a $220 million border security ad campaign that featured Noem prominently.
Correct.
Did the president know you were going to do this?
Yes.
He did.
Yes.
In a new phone interview with NBC News, President Trump said of the ad campaign, quote, "I wasn't thrilled with it. I spent less money than that to become president. I didn't know about it." Noem was also widely criticized over her handling of the deadly Minneapolis shootings by federal immigration officers and her initial comments accusing Alex Preddy of domestic terrorism, despite video contradicting that. President Trump tapping Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullin as the new DHS head.
There's an opportunity to build off successes, and there's also opportunities to build off things that maybe didn't go quite as planned. So.
Mullin will need Senate confirmation and is promising to reach across the aisle. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
When we come back from the break here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, we'll get you caught up with all of the sound bites, and latest updates surrounding the chemicals from Silfab in Fort Mill. Fort Mill Elementary School remains closed today. We'll be right back. Just after 9:30 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus on this Friday morning. It is Flint Mill Elementary School in
Flint Hill.
What did I say? Flint Mill again?
It's very confused. Flint Hill and Fort Mill.
Thank you, Carlene. It is Flint Hill Elementary School that remains closed in the Fort Mill School District due to the situations reported at Silfab Solar, which, by the way, is set to hold a press conference addressing public concerns over what's happening, reported leaks and spills from the facility there that is adjacent to Flint Hill Elementary School. All right, leaders from Fort Mill speaking on this yesterday afternoon. If you missed it, we're going to play this for you now here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
This morning at approximately 8:50 a.m., the superintendent contacted York County Emergency Management to determine if any reports had been made and if there was an active issue taking place at the site. We were initially informed that there was no active issue ongoing. The superintendent received a call at 6:53 from York County Emergency Management that there was a minor leak at the plant, and they indicated that they did not believe that this presented a danger to the community. However, they could not confirm this with absolute certainty until they arrived on site. Therefore, the district made the decision to close Flint Hill Elementary School for the day as a precaution. At the time of the decision, the building was not open to students yet. Staff and parents were immediately notified of the closure, and the district began implementing reunification process for students who had utilized bus transportation that morning. Buses were transported to Pleasant Knoll Middle School. Staff and district staff and Flint Hill Elementary staff went to Pleasant Knoll Middle School to assist with the reunification for the students. We began dismissing students to their parents shortly after 9 a.m. this morning. We were able to serve breakfast and lunch to these students as they waited to be dismissed, provided by our student nutrition department. Approximately 300 students were dismissed to their parents safely through our reunification process that took place at Pleasant Knoll Middle School today. At this time, Superintendent Young will share a few remarks, and he will be followed by Board Chair Spears. I apologize. I might have said 8:50 this morning with the first call to York County Emergency Management. It was at 5:50 a.m. this morning.
All right, good afternoon. First of all, I want to thank our students and parents for their patience and their cooperation this morning. We apologize for the inconvenience and the unease the closure has caused our families and staff. To Principal Michelle Greitz and her amazing administration and staff, I want to thank you for your positive response and your leadership with our students this morning. I would also like to thank our transportation department, our school safety department, school nutrition, and the countless members of our district staff that helped with the reunification process. Our district also appreciates the assistance we received from the Fort Mill Police Department, the York County Sheriff's Department, York County Emergency Management, as well as our Board of Trustees members. Interestingly enough, I was in Columbia this morning to testify in support of Representative Martin's bill that is related to this issue. But given these events, I returned to Fort Mill before I had the opportunity to testify. Representative Martin did read my statement. Here are some of the points that I had planned to make at the hearing. In education, our primary responsibility is to ensure a safe and healthy learning environment for every student. We currently have a new elementary school in operation and a middle school opening later this year, both located adjacent to a manufacturing facility that the Board of Zoning Appeals has ruled was improperly zoned. Our district has dedicated significant staff hours and taxpayer resources towards safety initiatives to mitigate related safety concerns. The urgency of this issue was underscored on Tuesday and again this morning, when within weeks of receiving its certificate of occupancy, this facility experienced a chemical spill and a chemical leak on site. Today's events caused the district to close Flint Hill Elementary School as a precautionary measure. These incidents have caused significant concern among our parents and our community and have disrupted our school operations. Based on this, the district is calling for a complete and immediate shutdown of the Silfab Solar facility. We understand that South Carolina Department of Environmental Services has issued a directive to Silfab Solar to cease all operations by 4 p.m. today. At this time, I would like to turn it over to Chairwoman Spears, who has some additional remarks.
Thank you. On behalf of the board, I want to reiterate our appreciation to all the groups that Superintendent Young mentioned. This has been a true team effort, and our thanks go to the superintendent and his team who have led us through these challenges of the last few days with calm and strong leadership. We know this is a difficult time for the community. Understandably, the emotions and frustrations are very high at this moment, as they are for all of us. We've continued to work with the regulatory agencies that have oversight and authority regarding the safe operation of this plant. It is our responsibility to provide a safe and healthy environment for our students. And in light of these events, it is imperative that the regulatory agencies take swift action to protect our students and our staff. The school board fully supports the directive issued today for this facility to immediately cease all operations. Thank you.
Before I open it up to questions, I would like to mention that a decision at this time. We are continuing to assess the situation as we receive updates. We'll make announcements regarding that as soon as possible. At this time, I'm going to open it up for questions. If you don't mind, please raise your hand. I will call on you for your question. And keep in mind that the district can only answer questions about district operations. We're not able to answer questions about emergency response, permitting, zoning, or operations of commercial facilities. Yes, sir.
Andrew Dice, the Herald, Rock Hill. Thank you for having me today. I think it's important that you go over again the timeline about when the Fort Mill School District was first told about today's incident, today's spill, leak, call it what you will. We need to know, the public needs to know, when was the school district told about it, when was the decision made to close the school, and why was there any kind of time lapse in between 1 to 2?
Yes, so I'll begin first with when we received the report. It was during the middle of the night. We received the report from
Who was we?
The superintendent, as I said in here, the superintendent received a report from a community member that there may be an issue ongoing at Silfab Solar.
May I interrupt?
Sure.
Did the school district or the superintendent contact?
At 9:39 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, previously recorded press conference from school leaders from the Fort Mill School District. We will continue to play that for you as a press conference is also scheduled for 11 o'clock this morning from Silfab Solar to those who are concerned about this week's incidents. And we will have that here on Live Impact News as well. In the meantime, a quick break on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. We'll be right back. It's 9:42 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Jane Monreal, and this morning, Apple making a major announcement this week, launching 3 products at once. You got the MacBook Neo, its least expensive laptop to date at $599, alongside the iPhone 17e and a new iPad Air. Joining us live from the Apple Grand Central Store in New York City is a director of product marketing at Apple, Colleen Novielli. Colleen, thanks for joining us here this morning.
Awesome. Hi, Jane. Good morning. It's great to be here.
Yeah, Colleen, wow, what a major announcement. $599 for a MacBook. Is this a signal then Apple may be shifting towards a more budget-conscious audience?
You know, Jane, MacBook Neo is a product that we have been dreaming of making for a long time. A lot of things have to come together to make a product like this, where you have this awesome, tremendous value, the set of features that really meets Apple's high standard in design, in performance, and reliability, but achieves that affordable price point. This is really a product that only Apple could do. And this is the moment that we were able to deliver. We just couldn't be happier and more proud of this product. And to get it into people's hands, we're so excited.
And why now? Is this part of a bigger strategy?
You know, we are always looking to deliver as much value as possible while, again, maintaining Apple's exceptional standards of high quality. And so you see that everything from the iPhone 17e, this delivers even more value with faster performance and MagSafe and double the storage. The iPad Air with the M4 chip and more memory, faster wireless. And then, of course, the MacBook Neo. Again, it's really a magical thing when these things come together. It takes tons of innovation from all of our teams across Apple, from engineering to manufacturing to operations, to planning, and then folks here at stores like the beautiful Apple retail store. A lot of things have to come together in a way that only Apple can do and deliver in order to deliver that value. And so again, this is the moment in time, and we're just really, really excited for this to happen this week.
3 products in one announcement seems extraordinary for Apple to have that again going moving forward. And what is the connecting line then? Is it value?
It is value from the iPhone 17e and the iPad Air, and then of course the MacBook Neo. Now we can't forget the other products that we've announced this week. We also announced an update to the MacBook Air. MacBook Air, if you don't know, is the world's most popular laptop. It's the perfect balance of performance and portability, and we made that even better with more performance for our customers. And then the MacBook Pro and our Pro displays, we also updated those this week. And those are just powerhouses for our Pro users. They were updated with the latest Apple Silicon, the M5 Max and M5 Pro chips. And then our studio displays have best in class in industry front of screen performance. And so we do have value, but then we delivered products with things all the way up to our most Pro customers. So you really have a very wide spectrum of products for customers to choose for this week.
So even with the lower cost, do you get full Apple, the full Apple experience here?
You absolutely do. And again, with the MacBook Neo in particular, we wouldn't have announced this product unless we could really deliver that exceptional Apple experience that people really, expect and demand from Apple, along with that great value. And so again, this is a product that people have always dreamed of having. This is a product that we've always dreamed of making, and we're able to deliver that awesome value of this amazing experience, but also breakthrough price of $599.
All right. And then AI, is that being factored into any of these new devices?
AI is being factored into all of our new devices. Of course, AI and Apple Intelligence are at the forefront of both customer thought, what's important to them, and also what's important to us. And so some of the things we announced this week, like the M5 series of chips, M5, M5 Pro, and M5 Max, they have terrific neural accelerators in the GPU. So you can do things like, what you want to do every day, Apple Intelligence, on apps that use AI tools. And then really be able to fly through your workflow and just be more productive than ever, whether you're on an iPhone or whether you're on an iPad or a Mac.
All right, what do folks need to know before they walk into a store try to get one of these?
You can go on apple.com today to pre-order any of these devices, and then you can come on into a store to pick one up in person starting on March 11th. One thing that I also want everyone to know is that it has never been easier to purchase, upgrade, or trade in your device. You can come on down to a store, just again, like this one at Grand Central, but any of our Apple retail stores, bring your device. We'll help you safely and securely download your data to your new device, and we'll actually accept your old device as a trade-in for a discount to your new one.
All right, Colleen Novielli from Apple, thank you so much with that insider announcement on what's happening over there. A lot of folks are going to be, I'm sure, lined up for that. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jane. Thanks, Charlotte. Great to be here.
Yep, thank you. And we'll be right back on Live Impact News on WCNC+. Back here now at 9:49 on Live Impact News on WCNC+. Want to get you back to comments from yesterday from the Fort Mill School District. Leaders speaking on the incidents, the leaks of this week from Silfab Solar, neighboring Flint Hill Elementary School, which, by the way, is closed again today out of an abundance of caution. Silfab putting a pause on their work today as well. And we are expecting to hear from Silfab in a press conference at 11 o'clock. We'll bring that to you here live on Live Impact News on WCNC+. But back to previously recorded press conference comments from Fort Mill School leaders now on WCNC+.
And say, we have received this message.
No, the superintendent did not send that message on through. As it was said, the individual was advised to send their message to 911, which is the proper authority to report these instances to. The superintendent has absolutely no authority, and the district has absolutely no authority to dispatch anyone, to put anybody in place to handle this situation. That is what 911 is for, and York County Emergency Management is for. Anytime that there is a situation like this, that is who should be reported to. Having said that, that was shared with the member that they should report this to 911. We were not unclear whether that actually happened, which is why we reached out to York County Emergency Management at 5:50 a.m. this morning to see if there were any reports and if in fact those reports were real. During that call, we were told that, I'll read this again, York County Emergency Management informed us that there was no active issue at the site at 5:50 a.m. We continued to make updates and checks and have conversations as a school district. We got the superintendent received an additional call At 6:53 a.m. from York County Emergency Management, at that time they confirmed there was a minor leak at the plant, and they indicated that it did not believe it presented a danger to the community. However, they could not confirm that until they arrived on site at Silfab.
It begs the question, who told York County Emergency Management, if they weren't there, that there was a leak this morning?
That would have to be a question for York County Emergency Management. I can't answer that question for you. The school district called to ask if there had been any reports.
They told you, they told you at 6:53 there was a minor leak at the plant.
Absolutely.
Someone had to tell them that.
I think you need to ask them that question, who told them that? Again, we are not the reporting agency. We are dealing with our school sites.
Okay.
They would have to answer the question how they made that determination, because again, they told us there was not an active incident and then later told us there was. So what happened between that window that they investigated to find out there was would have to be answered by York County Emergency Management.
Understood.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you talk through why classes were canceled today and not also on Tuesday when we had that much larger spill? And were there conversations after that of what are we going to do if something like this happens again? Would it be another closure?
Yes, in regards to the Tuesday situation that happened, at that time we were in immediate contact with York County Emergency Management when we learned of the issue. They were very clear at that time. They knew what the spill was, they knew what the contaminant was, and that this did not pose a concern to the community. They were on site at the time of providing that information to us, whereas this time around we were not able to get that concrete confirmation. So that was the reason for allowing the school to continue to operate, because at that time we had clear and concrete information that it was safe to do so at the time. Yes, sir.
Hey, Michael with WTV. We have a stop in operations at Silfab. Does that mean testing will continue at the school, air, ground tests? What
Yes.
does that monitoring look like, and any testing that will continue or stop?
Yes, our commitment that we've done, performed with Citadel EHS is ongoing. The 24-hour continuous air quality monitoring equipment has actually been in place since January and operating. We still have the schedule that we'll be working out for the periodic testing that goes along with that. Actually, we have already be coming on the calendar here very shortly, the next round of that, so we will assess any needs to make any changes there. So yes, that is a continuing project with the district regardless of what takes place at this time.
I'd also ask about the emotional toll. Parents, students have clearly been concerned about this and upset about this. Any plans to provide counselors and what's being done about the...
Actually, yes, I can tell you that Principal Greitz and her staff have already put that in place. If students return to school tomorrow, we'll have counseling in place. Even if they don't return to school tomorrow, we will make sure they have options to reach out and talk to somebody. We actually had staff that were working with students today that were having some emotional issues while they were dealing with the situation as being part of reunification. So yes, that is absolutely part of the district's response plan in any emergency situation, to be honest, and will continue as part of this one as well, too. Yes, sir.
Thanks, Jeff. So the elementary was closed today because out of precaution. The construction on the middle school next door was proceeding throughout the day. So I wanted to find out, was there any discussion as far as whether the work that's being done on the middle school should have been suspended for the day?
So the work that's being done there is also being provided by outside contractors. They would make determinations of whether they would pull their staff off. We have not had those conversations with them at this time, so I'd have to check and see what determinations they made. I don't know if they continued working or not working today. We would have to look into that. Yes, ma'am.
Now that you have another middle school coming into the area, this is where a lot of students are going to be in the area. How can you guarantee student safety if more students are going to be coming here and we don't know what the future is going to be if Silfab continues operations?
Well, I think you heard a very clear statement from our superintendent and from our board chair. We're asking that operations cease at this facility and that it no longer move forward with operations. Hang on, she actually had her hand up first.
Anything you want to say to parents right now who are still shaken up there?
Absolutely. As you heard, both Superintendent and Chairwoman Spears mentioned that obviously we know this has caused concern. We know that this has caused concern before today, but actually having these events happen is going to cause even more concern and unease. And we want to make sure we know that our district and school staff will be there for both our families and our parents, and that at this point, in light of the events that have actually taken place, the district will remain committed to seeing the ceasing of operations at the facility. Yes, sir.
My question is for Representative Martin, if I may, since you're here, Representative Martin.
So,
you've pushed against this for a long time, including the last 3 days. However, the school district and the South Carolina Department of Environmental Services and York County Emergency Management have either given mixed messages or not given accurate information for 3 days. The initial spill was the release number was 1530, and it took you calling them for them to correct it, make it 300. The concern is Silfab, and I'm asking, Silfab is providing this information, correct?
I believe so, yes.
How do we know that it's accurate? How does anyone watching this, reading this out there have any idea that what Silfab is telling York County Emergency Management, South Carolina Department of Environmental Services, or the school district is accurate today?
Great question. I don't trust anything Silfab says at this point. They've had every opportunity to do the right thing in this community for over 2 years. I have been advocating for a full stoppage at that facility, and they move elsewhere. When they got the order from SCDES that they could no longer what they called commission equipment, meaning that you're testing equipment to get it ready for some type of production, which DES says is 6 months from now. They had the opportunity to stop that. And then it is clear that this morning there was some other type of leak that occurred with hydrofluoric acid, from what I understand. So I don't really trust what I'm being told from Silfab. I have not actually heard verification that it was 1530 or 300. Nobody has came to me and said this is the exact number. And that's exactly why SCDES has been investigating them over the last few days to find out exactly what the truth is, and that's what needs to happen. And that's why I called SCDES. Myra Reese, I've been on the phone with her since 6:45 this morning. I don't know, as soon as I found out that something was going on. I have been on the phone nonstop with her along with Senator Johnson to ask for transparency, accountability, and that everybody in Fort Mill and across our state understands what happened and ultimately who's going to be responsible for that. And so until they finish their investigation and until the EPA finishes their investigation, which they're starting on Wednesday of what I've been told of next week, once that happens, I can't wait to find out what the truth actually is at this point. But if Silfab's saying it right now, I absolutely am not believing it.
And as a follow-up, I'm not sure if other people, I don't want to take up all the time, but for you, school district, or anyone else, when people, and I'm a Fort Mill parent, I put 3 children through this school district, why should they put their child on a school bus tomorrow morning when the information that they're receiving is coming initially from Silfab, which by all accounts has the spill. It's coming either through 1, 2, or 3 filters until it gets to the public and these parents to make decisions about their children.
Again, a great question. You know me, Andrew. I've known you for a long time. I have a daughter in Fort Mill schools. I'm a product of Fort Mill schools. It's sad that I have to stand here today. It's sad that any of these people behind me have to stand here today and speak up about this, what I believe is an atrocity that should never have happened here in a great school district and a great community. Our parents should feel confident that when they send our kids to school, they're safe. All they need to focus on is being able to study. And unfortunately, this company has came in and has not done things the correct way and has caused a disruption in that on a daily basis. I fully trust every single thing these people behind me tell me. Unlike the information that you just asked me about, I trust everything that Gray Young and these people behind me tell me. I've known this man for 20 years, 20 plus years actually. And if they're giving me information, I absolutely trust what they tell me. If they feel comfortable to open up the school tomorrow, I would feel comfortable with that as a parent, in my opinion. I'm excited to see what happens at 4 o'clock today. Either Silfab has the opportunity to do the right thing and be a good neighbor in this community, or it's clear that they have no intentions of being a good neighbor in this community. And if they do not want to be a good neighbor and they do not want to comply with our highest agency that regulates them, they need to be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law. I have contacted the Attorney General's office. They are looking at every legal parameter here that can be taken, and that would be my next step of what I intend to do, is contact the AG and work with him.
One more question?
Absolutely. Yep.
And it dovetails into what you just said. You're a state representative, but anyone can call 911. Anyone can call the law at any time. Has anyone asked the sheriff's office or SLED to open up a criminal investigation into what has happened the last 3 days?
I will tell you, I have personally been in contact with our sheriff, Sheriff Breeden. I have personally been in contact with the Attorney General's office. I would like to see a full investigation done for everything, right? I want to know what happened at this facility. I want to know how this happened. I want to know who was responsible, whether that's just on to confirm through DES that operationally things were done, or whether there's any type of other cover-up or criminal action that's happened at that location. I expect full transparency and accountability from anybody involved, and that's what I seek to find.
Dave, can I say something?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Andrew, I appreciate the question. I think it's important to understand that when this call came in very late last night, we cannot, as a school district, get in the practice of calling 911 from an outside facility. If they have information that there is something going on in that facility, they need to call 911. And that was the advisement that they received. They called more than just me. They called other people. They received
You advised that member of the public, call 911, let people do their job.
Correct. And when 911 is called to a facility like that, York County Emergency Management is notified. Then we usually are notified by York County Emergency Management. So when at 5:50 this morning, I sent a text to York County Emergency Management asking for information. That information at first was there is no active spill. Then once calls were made, I was called at 6:53 a.m. And that's when we started talking about making the decision to cancel schools. We decided at 7:02 a.m. to cancel schools. At 7:05, students would be getting out of their cars and getting off those buses. So the timeline was very quick. And we did not feel comfortable with the information that we had at the time to allow Flint Hill Elementary School to have school today. So that's why we made that decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, unless there are any other pressing questions for the school district as far as our operations go, I think we're going to end our press conference here. If you do have additional questions for the school district, feel free to send those to me. If you have additional questions, obviously, I assume for some of our other representatives in the room here today, you can certainly reach out to them. We appreciate you coming here today, and thank you very much for your time.
And again, today at 11 o'clock, in just less than an hour, the folks at Silfab are expecting to hold a press conference addressing public concerns, as well as family and everyone who's just looking on what's happening there at Silfab from the incidents this week. We'll be right back on Live Impact News on WCNC+. At 10:06 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, we are talking about Silfab Solar and the closures of the school there, Flint Hill Elementary School, that had to be closed yesterday. We do understand they are closed today because of yesterday's hydrofluoric acid leak, and that is definitely cause of concern as we've been following the Attorney General, parents, school district. We are expecting a press conference from the Silfab folks at 11 o'clock, which we will bring to you here on Live Impact News. Now, the chemicals that are being talked about this week, hydrofluoric acid as well as potassium hydroxide, are taking front and center spotlight. I talked to a professor of biochemistry from University of South Carolina yesterday, try to get a better understanding of what these chemicals do, especially after yesterday's hydrofluoride acid. So bear with me as we were just sort of mustering through this yesterday afternoon, previously recorded now for you on WCNC Plus.
And so what exactly is hydrofluoric acid? What can it do?
Hydrofluoric acid is nasty. It's technically a weak acid, but it behaves like it's something stronger. It's extremely dangerous, it's highly corrosive, and it's very toxic. So all around, it's just really bad. In fact, I've often told people I never want hydrofluoric acid in my own chemistry research lab, because if you get a drop on your skin, it goes straight through your skin, through your tissue, and dissolves your bone. So that's how nasty it can be. And if you inhale it in your lungs, it's going to, destroy your lungs too. And it's a poison. It's toxic too. So it is not good to be around.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. And what would the industrial use for this substance be?
Yeah, one of the big users is in making silicon chips. So the semiconductor industry, that would be your computers, your smartphones, so that's a big use. And it's used for cleaning and etching those silicon wafers. It's a great etching thing because it dissolves stuff, it's strong and dissolves stuff. And also it's used for making fluoropolymers, Teflon-like things, your nonstick cooking pans and that kind of stuff. And also anybody takes Prozac, fluorinated pharmaceuticals, that HF is used in the manufacture of those as well. There are a lot of pharmaceuticals that have fluorines in them, and they're safe, right? They're safe, but hydrofluoric acid, HF, is used in the manufacture of many pharmaceuticals like that have fluorines in them.
And how is this stored properly, and how could it leak?
Yeah, it's because it etches glass as well. It's used in the glass etching industry. You can't store it in a glass bottle like we store a lot of our other, strong acids and things like this and strong bases. So it's generally stored in Teflon-lined plastic bottles, containers. I don't know about an industry, but that's that's how we would store it in the lab if it were to be in my lab. But I imagine they have probably giant vats in industry. But being corrosive, I don't know that it can be stored in metal either.
So I don't know, are the chances of it leaking, it would have to be a specific substance or a process by how it leaked, right?
Right, and I don't really know. I didn't get the circumstances of how this leaked out. So if it were stored in glass, and I'm sure the company's not storing it in glass, they know better, it could eat right through that glass and leak out itself. So I don't really know the circumstances of what happened, what caused this leak.
And like you said, you don't need much to be a danger.
Not at all. It takes just a little bit.
And so how do hazmat crews, how would they contain it if something were to happen?
Yes, I was reading it can be neutralized. I forget, well, one thing I saw, treatment calcium gluconate gel to neutralize the fluoride ions. So the ways to neutralize it, and that was more a safety thing if you got it on your skin, but it's so quickly going through your skin. It's just so dangerous. So I don't know what they're doing in that industry setting, what they do for spills like that. But I'm kind of glad I saw the follow-up news story where DES is shutting down their operation temporarily because this is a second spill in recent days. And so something's happening, and better to make sure everything is properly done. And I didn't know there was an elementary school. It was an elementary school right next door to the plant. It's like, it's so bad, especially because that stuff is volatile, right? And so it's not just a matter of getting this stuff really is very volatile. So it could spread through the air too, and if you're downwind or, it's just not a good situation to be in.
And environmentally, then, for the environment, how would it affect that?
Yeah, nasty for the environment too. I mean, it's a toxin, a strong, potent toxin. So other animals around, if it got spilled into water, the fish, all the aquatic life, if it went into a nearby creek or river, not good. And if it seeped into groundwater, we have wells, not good either. So it could really damage the environment too, not just us as humans.
And earlier this week, you said that you did read that this is the second incident this week. The first incident, hydrogen peroxide. Would there be a circumstance that they come together? The two react together?
They could. Hydrogen peroxide can be a reducing agent as well as an oxidizing agent, and this hydrofluoric acid is oxidizing. So they could potentially. There was another chemical too, though, beside the hydrogen peroxide, right? Now I'm forgetting what it was.
Hold on, let me see here.
It was a base. It was potassium hydroxide. That's what it was.
Yes, potassium hydroxide. That's what I actually meant to say. Potassium hydroxide.
Right. And
those two reacting.
Those can definitely react. An acid and a base, strong base can react. And it could be a violent reaction. If it's done in a certain way, it could neutralize. It could be a good thing for the hydrofluoric acid. But in general, you need to get that hydrofluoric acid out. But both of those chemicals are dangerous. But I would say the hydrofluoric acid even more so. It has more angles to be dangerous.
All right, and we will continue to follow, of course, today's fallout from this week's incidents from Silfab, which, again, just want to remind you that they are having a press conference we'll bring to you here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus starting at 11 o'clock, just about 45 minutes away from now. Want to get you caught up with some breaking news from an earlier fatal crash near Concord Mills, southbound on I-85 near Concord Mills Road. This crash that happened around 5:30 this morning resulted in 2 fatalities, 2 other people taken to the hospital. This is what is left of the actual scene. So it looks like, for the most part, the wreckage is gone. EMS personnel, those emergency responders, as far as the folks involved, they have been cleared. It looks like they are just cleaning up whatever substances, oil, fuel on the roadway. So they have to sand things down and get that situated. So with that still happening, South 85, right around mile marker 49, you can see that traffic is being taken off I-85 before you get to the actual crash site. Taken off near mile marker.
This is 51. I think it's exit 52, technically.
So 2 to 3 miles before you get to the actual crash site. As you can imagine, traffic is going to be jammed now on those surface streets when you get off the freeway, and then, of course, as you approach mile marker 52, 51,
right.
51, 52.
DriveNC.gov, they kind of just updated it, saying the road's expected to be open by noon.
Okay.
But we know when they put these out, they're kind of
rough
vague.
estimates.
They're rough
Yeah.
estimates. It could be shorter, it could be longer.
So they were hoping to reopen things around 10 o'clock. The update we have here at 10:15 is now extending it back to 12 o'clock.
Correct.
Is the ETA when they hope to reopen I-85 completely. So again, traffic taken off I-85 southbound as you approach the crash site, which is near mile marker 49, this fatal wreck near Concord Mills Road. Boulevard, thank you. Boulevard is still being cleaned up. The wreckage is gone, but it ended up being a fatal crash where 2 people lost their lives, and traffic is taken off about 3 miles back. So that backup to just exit off I-85 is going to be horrendous. An area to avoid if you can. Put it in your GPS if you're watching us from home, so you can get around it.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends and family. It is a weekend,
Yes.
And I know UNC Charlotte is starting their spring break after today, so hitting the road early. Just go ahead and put that in your GPS. You might add some mileage to your odometer, but maybe save some time in the long run.
Yeah.
We're going to take a 2-minute timeout here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Back at 10:19 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, we continue to follow the fallout of a leak as well as a spill at Silfab Solar in Fort Mill, which is running adjacent to Flint Hill Elementary School. That school was shut down on yesterday with leaders saying out of an abundance of caution, and we understand to shut down today. Silfab also ordered to halt their work there at the plant. It is a big facility. And now South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson weighing in. He talked to our Nick Sturdivant yesterday. If you missed this report, there's their interview and conversation here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
All right, so we want to catch you up. Big story today out of Fort Mill, South Carolina. The South Carolina Department of Environmental Services issuing a total stop at Silfab Solar in Fort Mill today after a second incident involving chemicals at the York County manufacturing plant. Our Anna King is there covering that story for us. She'll have the latest for us coming up a little later. Right now on Live Impact News, we have Attorney General, South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson on the phone. Mr. Wilson, thank you for your time.
It's great to be with you. Thank you for having me.
I just want to, I know we got a few minutes here. I just want to ask you, what do you know, what can you tell us so far about this, about what's happening?
Well, first off, I've been receiving a number of reports from community members up in that area, as well as I've been reading media accounts of this issue at Silfab. I've also been in touch with various state agency directors, as well as reached out to the EPA on this matter. What I can tell you is our office was on a call earlier today with the director of the Department of Environmental Services, among other state agencies, and we are doing a complete and full investigation and review on the matter involving what occurred at Silfab. we obviously don't want to go into too much detail as to what we know or don't know, because right now it's ongoing, but we are exploring all of the facts. We are looking at all of the evidence. Obviously, we ask community members who may have information to reach out to our office or to the Department of Environmental Services and provide that information to us. I have reached out to the EPA administrator and members of the EPA to ask them for a full review from the federal side. But we are looking at this, and we are going to explore every single legal action available to us. At the end of the day, what is most important is the public health and safety of community members, especially the children in the nearby schools.
Have you spoken with Silfab? And I know you said you spoke with community members. Can you kind of give us some insight on what those conversations have been like?
We have been speaking with the agencies directly involved with the regulation of Silfab. As the Attorney General, we don't regulate, but we do have some legal oversight and authority. We are looking currently at the laws available to us. We're also looking at the evidence. We're looking at the information that has been provided to us to answer the questions. As you are aware, we sent a letter to Silfab earlier this week with a number of questions that we wanted to know when the news of these chemical leaks were first breaking. We wanted to know what they knew, when they knew it, what was going on, when did it happen. We wanted to know, we had a bunch of questions that we wanted answered, but we're also working with the state regulators charged with the permitting processes as well as the environmental regulation over manufacturing plants such as this one. So our goal is to get all the facts, get all of the evidence, and then work with our state and federal agency partners to take the appropriate actions. At the end of the day, ensuring the safety, the public health and safety of everyone in that community is the number one priority for us.
You just spoke to it. My last question for you, and thank you for your time, Attorney General Alan Wilson here on the phone with us on Live Impact News. My last question for you, again, you alluded to it, the path forward. What's next? A lot of folks there in that community wonder what's next, and how do you move forward?
Well, I've been told that DES is obviously given Silfab 4 p.m. to shut down. I'm allowing that process to take place. Obviously, I've spoken with the Director of Environmental Services and offered our offices support on anything that they need. But the number one goal is to get this process shut down until we can get our arms wrapped around what happened and what is going to happen, and make sure that everyone has full faith and confidence that manufacturing plant is not a danger to the community. And obviously, if there is anyone to hold accountable, that is our goal, is to hold accountable anyone who is taking part in anything that has endangered the community. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get all the facts. We're going to act accordingly. We're going to make sure that all of the questions that all of your viewers have are answered and publicly disseminated so that there's a full accounting of what's happening up there.
South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson on the phone, speaking with us after a second incident there at Silfab. Attorney General Wilson, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Want to let you know again that today at 11 o'clock, so about 35 minutes from now, the Director of Operations from Silfab Solar is expected to speak at a press conference where we have our crew on scene. Our Anna King should be bringing that to us, and we will air that live press conference both on linear on WCNC Charlotte as well here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. We're going to take a break now on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. See you in 2 minutes. Back here now at 10:27 on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. It is a Friday morning. Looking forward to what sounds like a glorious weekend, at least a large chunk of it. Don't forget, Sunday morning is when we spring forward. Might lose an hour of sleep, and that might put some people's schedules off, particularly kids. So I did speak to a sleep pediatric nurse, a sleep specialist at Novant Health. Spoke to her yesterday on what specifically what parents can do to try to get the family adjusted. This interview for you now if you missed it on WCNC Plus. Right now, we need to talk about the time change happening this weekend at 9:42. We are springing forward. That means we are going to lose an hour of sleep. Sounds minor, doesn't feel minor for a lot of people. Feeling that inconvenience are adults and kids alike, and that can really become a battle. Days of crankiness, perhaps, those early wake-ups. It really affects us. So joining us right now is Blake Bogus. She's a pediatric sleep specialist at Novant Health, here to help us understand what is happening and what we can do so we don't lose our minds, Blake.
Yeah, thanks for having me. That's right. It definitely can be a difficult time, especially for the little ones.
Yeah, so tell me, why are we so cranky for the days following?
Yeah, so, when we spring forward, our circadian rhythm, our inner clock, gets misaligned with the time on the clock that we see. And so that really affects us, and we start to get less sleep overall. And so then the populations that are already prone to sleep deprivation or really sensitive to less sleep and time changes, like kids, and then it really impacts them more.
So what is happening to especially kids' bodies during daylight saving time when it starts to kick in?
Yeah, so whenever we are getting less sleep, that really starts to affect emotional dysregulation and leads to things like poor focus, poor memory, starts to affect concentration in school and those types of things. So when we're getting more evening light, then we're shifting away from our natural body's rhythm. And so you're putting your kid to bed, at not the natural time, but then everything else doesn't shift, right? The school wake up time doesn't shift. So then they're waking up at the same time, getting less sleep overall, and really puts that pressure on their inner clock and their bodies, and they're just not getting the adequate sleep that they need.
How do we change and hopefully evolve as we get older when it comes to a time change?
Yeah, well, as we get older, I think we have a little bit more ability to regulate, throughout the day, and ability to adjust our routine versus a child where they really thrive on routine and kind of need us as caregivers to cue them to change those routines and work on those timing adjustments.
Yeah, so now that we're just a few days out before the dreaded spring forward time change, how can parents help adjust and ease their kids into it?
Yeah, so one thing to easily do is start just a few days ahead of time, putting your child to bed a little bit earlier each night. So starting tonight or tomorrow night, just adjusting the bedtime by 15 to 20 minutes, earlier, and then by the time it rolls around on, Saturday into Sunday, hopefully you're back at the desired time. So that is one easy thing to do. Also, light and dark cues. So our bodies really rely on the cues from sunlight and darkness on when we should be awake, when we should be asleep. So getting that early morning light, and then in the evening, hour or two before bed, really starting to dim things down, turning off those overhead lights, going to lower light, night lights, avoiding the electronic lights. Those are some really good things parents can do.
What are some of the mistakes parents make?
I think some mistakes parents can make, and it's an easy trap to fall into, is getting into some habits that may help in the short term, but then in the long run really do us a disfavor in sleep. So things like allowing more screen time around bedtime or wake ups, or laying with the child to fall at bed at night when you've never previously done that. And then they get kind of dependent on that. Or kind of falling into, kids love to use some delay tactics at bedtime to, anything to put off that bedtime. So asking for one more story, one more drink, any of those type of things. So it can very easily slip into some habits that you didn't have before that can be hard to break afterward.
That's so funny. Don't fall for it, parents. They are smarter than you think. All right. So tonight, what is one thing that parents can do tonight to help their kids get ready for Sunday?
I think one thing tonight, one easy thing would just be, like I say, dimming those lights before bedtime, watching our screen time before bed, and then maybe just barely shifting the time tonight, 10-15 minutes is all you would need to do tonight to start to get ready.
And how about nap times? Because I know a lot of babies and toddlers, they like to do the naps. Is that in part of this sleep pattern?
Yeah, you could adjust the nap time and meal times, kind of the whole schedule for those little ones, in alignment with the shift. So then that way their whole routine is shifted as well to really line up everything for them. So nap times, meal times, gradually moving everything by that 15 minutes or so.
All right, we can do that a little bit. And y'all, we need to get away from screen time before bed anyway. All right, I'm kind of like on this whole reduce the screen time anyway. We need to rewire this whole culture of too much screen time. But anyway, I digress. All right. Blake Boggess, thank you so much for joining us here from Novant Health. Good luck, everybody, adjusting to the time change. A lot of us love it anyway, later sun for the day. All right. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you.
That's my platform, Carleen. That's my new platform. Reduce the screen time.
It helps. If I put the phone down for an hour before, it does help.
Yeah.
Wind down.
Right? Exactly. What are we doing?
What are we doing? I don't need to be scrolling that close to bed.
Let's connect.
Let's connect.
Person to person. Why not?
Why not?
Why not take a little break here on Live Impact News? We are awaiting a press conference, top of the hour, from the folks at Silfab Solar. A number of incidents, particularly this week, and Flint Hill Elementary School closed yesterday and today out of an abundance of caution. A spill and a leak. We'll hear more from the Director of Operations from Silfab coming up at 11. We're going to break away for you for about 2 minutes. We'll be right back on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Back here at 10:37 on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. It looks like a little earlier than expected, but now traffic is being let through. They were taking traffic off at mile marker 52 from an earlier fatal crash southbound on 85. You can see there, though, in the background that it is still reduced to one lane, but at least now you can continue your drive southbound on 85 through Concord Mills Boulevard. Earlier fatal wreck had all lanes blocked here for many hours. Southbound on 85, a crash there that killed 2 people at Concord Mills Boulevard around 5:30 this morning. The cleanup continues, but it looks like at least progress is being made in the way of letting traffic through. So an update for you there. Traffic south 85 near mile marker 52. Okay, so yesterday, Governor Josh Stein announced that $17 million in grants will be able to address the PFAS in Wilmington. He held this press conference for us yesterday. So previously recorded presser and remarks from the governor on WCNC Plus.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here today. Wes Corder, Chairman of the Board at CFPUA. We're honored to welcome Governor Stein, Secretary Wilson, and their teams to the Sweeney Water Treatment Plant today. North Carolina's Department of Environmental Quality is helping fund projects that will not only benefit CFPUA's current customers, but will help us connect more people in New Hanover County to clean, clearly better CFPUA water. You'll hear more about these projects in a moment, but on behalf of CFPUA's customers, I just want to thank Secretary Wilson and Governor Stein for everything they are doing for our region and for making the trip to Wilmington today. With that, I'll hand it off to our County Vice Chairman, Dane Scalise.
Thank you, Wes. Thank you and welcome, everyone. I want to thank CFPUA for hosting us today. As a member of the CFPUA board, I see firsthand the work this team does to deliver safe drinking water to our community, and I'm proud of what they've built here at Sweeney. Clean drinking water is among the most fundamental services that government provides. The wells being connected through this funding are in our county, in our neighborhoods where families have been living with contamination they didn't cause and can't fix on their own. Getting them connected to safe water has been a priority for this board, and today we're one step closer. New Hanover County, the City of Wilmington, and CFPUA have been working closely together for years to identify the communities most in need and do the engineering work so that when state funding becomes available, we're ready to move. That preparation is paying off today. We appreciate the state's investment in our community. Governor Stein, thank you and welcome back to New Hanover County. Please, everyone, Governor Stein.
Dane, thank you so much for that nice introduction and warm welcome and for being here today and your service on this board. Wes, thank you for your leadership of the board. I'm pleased to be joined by North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality Secretary Reed Wilson. Is Representative Butler here today? She was trying to make it. She didn't quite make it. Okay. And a number of local officials. Rob, good to see you. We just had a very informative tour here of Sweeney, learning about how this state-of-the-art facility is treating the region's drinking water and removing dangerous pollutants. I applaud the Cape Fear Public Utility Authority for investing in filtration technology to filter out dangerous forever chemicals like PFAS. To support that work, I'm here to share some really positive news from the state of North Carolina. The state has recently awarded the CFPUA nearly $35 million in water infrastructure investments. Y'all heard me. I don't have to say $35 million again.
We'll clap again, though. That's wonderful news.
$35 million. First, through the EPA's Emerging Contaminants Program, we're awarding $17 million to remove forever chemicals like PFAS from more people's drinking water who live right here in New Hanover County. The money will enable the connection of more than 300 homes that are currently on well water to join the CFPUA system. That means that they're going to get water that is treated here to remove PFAS from the drinking water. And we announced just recently a grant of nearly $18 million to the CFPUA to expand the capacity of the Southside wastewater treatment plant. Since 2023, the Department of Environmental Quality has awarded Southside location alone nearly $200 million to help with that construction. The funding is, of course, sorely needed to support the burgeoning population growth in this region and to ensure that the streams and waters run clean after wastewater is treated at Southside. Ensuring that our water is clean and safe has been a priority of mine since even before I was Attorney General. But as Attorney General, I took DuPont and Chemours to court for discharging PFAS and other forever chemicals to pollute the Cape Fear River. I've sued PFAS manufacturers across the state for polluting various locations in North Carolina. I'm proud to continue this work as governor. My administration is committed to building a water infrastructure across North Carolina that ensures drinking water is clean, that it's resilient in the face of extreme weather, and that it's capable of supporting more population growth and economic development. Over the past year, we've taken some meaningful steps to strengthen the state's water infrastructure. We have advanced more than $1.4 billion in water infrastructure projects to bolster drinking water and wastewater systems and to address PFAS and other emerging contaminants. Last week, my administration also communicated to the Army Corps of Engineers that we cannot approve its request to dredge the Cape Fear River without assurances that it would address any PFAS that is on the river bottom and that would protect the public health.
Thank you.
Of course, there is much more work to be done. We will continue to invest in expansions and upgrades in water infrastructure to protect against forever chemicals as we are here today in Wilmington. We will push for standards that reduce PFAS pollution at the source. We will pursue federal resources aggressively, and we will hold polluters accountable. We will also continue to work with partners across government, the private sector, and local communities to ensure that every North Carolinian has access to clean drinking water. It's simple. When a family turns on their tap at home, they should be confident, they should be certain that that water is clean and safe. Amen. I want to thank New Hanover County, the City of Wilmington, Cape Fear Public Utility Authority, for their tireless work to scale up treatment operations and to tackle this problem on behalf of their people. I want them to also know that my team and I are going to be with you every step of the way as we deliver this for our people. Thank you, and it is now my pleasure to bring forward our Secretary of Department of Environmental Quality, Reed Wilson.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Governor. Good morning, everyone. It is great to be with you. I want to thank Cape Fear Public Utility Authority for hosting us today at the Sweeney plant. This is my second time here, and it is an amazing thing to see how this state-of-the-art facility is cleaning up people's water to make sure it's safe. At the Department of Environmental Quality, one of our top priorities is reducing people's exposure to harmful forever chemicals, including PFAS like Gen X. These chemicals have been linked to serious health problems, cancers, reproductive issues, neurological problems, and more. And here in North Carolina, 3.5 million people currently drink tap water with PFAS levels above what the federal standards will be in just a few years. That's 1 in 3 people are drinking unhealthy water. And so those aren't just numbers. These are families, these are children, these are entire communities that deserve better. And we know that the most effective way and the fairest way to protect public health is to stop contamination at the source by setting limits on the discharges that can come into waterways. But we're not there yet. So in the interim, we need to make sure that we are providing resources to communities so that they can upgrade their infrastructure and remove PFAS and other harmful chemicals from their water supplies. So they need financial support. So today's announcement of $17 million to connect more homes that currently have well water that does have high levels of PFAS is a real step forward. And in addition to providing clean water to those homes, they also get fire service as well. As you know, obviously the pipes are there for the fire service as well. And I want to just mention that following neighborhoods for which at least a portion of those neighborhoods will receive these new water line connections: Allendale, Arlington, Bayshore, Brentwood, Burton, Newton, Kerr, Garden Place, Hanover Gardens, Orange Street, Rock Hill, and Wrightsboro Acres. Rock Hill, located in Castle Hayne, was one of the first neighborhoods funding was approved for, and we appreciate a group of good folks from that community here today for taking the time to be with us. Thank you all for being here. I don't know which ones of you are. If you want to raise your hands, stand up. Thank you so much for being here. And as the governor just mentioned, we also awarded recently almost $18 million for the wastewater plant. Important to mention the benefits that's going to provide. That project will completely modernize the plant, replacing aging equipment with a more advanced treatment system. It will increase capacity from 12 million to 16 million gallons per day, helping the community continue to grow. It will add stronger treatment and filtration, improving water quality and environmental protection downstream. It will improve storm resilience, moving critical equipment out of the floodplain and adding reliable backup power, and ensuring long-term reliability so this system can serve families and businesses for decades to come. So, $35 million total for drinking water and wastewater today. It's not just investments in pipes, it's investments in people. Infrastructure for drinking water and wastewater is the backbone for thriving, healthy communities, supports homes, schools, businesses, hospitals, and it enables growth while protecting our streams and natural areas. Today's award reflects our commitment to safeguarding public health, making infrastructure more resilient to increasingly severe weather, and ensuring that communities have the infrastructure they need to succeed. I want to thank leaders in Wilmington, New Hanover County, and CFPUA, and also the dedicated professionals from the Department of Environmental Quality who have all worked together on these projects over the years. We are making real progress together, and I look forward to making even more progress so that we can make sure people, when they turn on that tap, have safe, healthy water to drink. Thank you. And now we are open to questions from the press.
Any questions?
Wow.
Yes, I go.
Governor, the Trump administration has been rolling back, restrictions and regulations on PFAS and how they're going to monitor them. Here in North Carolina, the EMC arguably has been doing the same. How would you respond to both what's happening in Washington and in Raleigh in regards to monitoring and trying to get these forever chemicals out of our water systems?
Well, putting your head in the sand does not make the problem go away. We all know that PFAS poses real risk to public health. The Secretary listed a number of the health conditions that have been associated with PFAS. What we need to do, what the federal and state government need to do, is to have a clean standard of what is an acceptable amount to have in our drinking water. And as the Secretary said, we have to reduce the amount of PFAS that's in our rivers, that's in our drinking wells, at the point where it's being put into the river. That's where the pollution originates. We need to tighten that up and make sure that we are not adding any new PFAS. But we can't pretend that it doesn't already exist. So ignoring a problem does not make it go away. It's imperative that both the federal government and the state government set a clear standard of what is acceptable.
So a lot of the bigger companies have been linked to some PFAS in the Cape Fear River. So what can you guys do to ensure to hold these companies liable ensure that this doesn't happen?
Well, before I was governor, I was the Attorney General, and I took DuPont and Chemours, the two owners, it used to be DuPont, it's now Chemours, of the plant that manufactures PFAS outside of Fayetteville, the Fayetteville Works facility, and that litigation is still ongoing. I believe firmly that when a polluter creates damage that impacts the public and the natural, the rivers, that they should be the ones to pay for it, not the people. And so that's why I took them to court, and as I said, that litigation is ongoing.
There's been a lot of dredging recently around our region just in general for environmental benefits and things along those lines, but there's also been a lot of concern with dredging through the harbor of releasing more PFAS chemicals. So this dredging is not going to slow down, I don't feel. So what is a mitigation strategy? What is something you can put in the heads of people to keep in mind that these chemicals are underneath, and the more we dredge, the more we could potentially release?
That what you've just articulated, that there is PFAS sediment in the bottom of our river, is real. And that's why the Department of Environmental Quality, and I'll have the Secretary speak to this a little more in a moment, they communicated to the Army Corps of Engineers, which sought a permit to continue to dredge to deepen the river. They said, we cannot grant you this permit because you have not adequately addressed the question of what are you going to do to mitigate the risks to people's health by bringing all of this PFAS that's at the river bottom. Where they're going to put it on the beaches. So there are real legitimate concerns, and for that reason, the Department of Environmental Quality put a hold on it. Secretary.
Well, that's exactly right. There are a number of issues to look at for any proposed dredging project, and what was lacking in the Army Corps' documentation was information about how they would handle PFAS. Also, information about flooding was insufficient, because we have to have enough information to be able to make a decision whether that project is indeed consistent with state law. So when you don't have enough information, you can't make that judgment, and that's why we officially objected to that consistency determination from the Army.
Any other questions? Well, thank you all very much for being here today, and thank you for your advocacy for your communities, and grateful to all the local leaders who are stepping up to meet the needs of their residents. Thank you.
Governor, Mr. Secretary, thank you very much.
And a quick update for you now here on 85 near mile marker 52, where an earlier fatal crash had all lanes blocked for several hours. Southbound 85 near Concord Mills Boulevard. They have finally reopened lanes, so traffic will be recovering now as you make your way southbound through Concord Mills. We need to take a quick break here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. At 10:57 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, want to let you know that a press conference is planned for the top of the hour. We're going to carry that on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus right here, so stay with us. It is from Silfab Solar, where after a number of incidents, live picture there from the property, and that press conference will be happening any minute now, but a number of leaks and spills happening in the past has some issues for the area. We will bring that to you here top of the hour after this quick break. You're watching a special edition here of Live Impact News on WCNC Plus as we extend the coverage on what's happening at Silfab Solar. They are expected to hold a press conference right at this moment, taking a live picture right now at the property where one of our photojournalists is on scene. They are expected to speak on public concerns over reported leaks. When that happens, we will bring that to you here on Live Impact News as well as WCNC Charlotte. In the meantime, to get you up to speed is our Siobhan Riley with this recap from a previous edition of WCNC Charlotte.
School district leaders said it's imperative that agencies take swift action and protect their students. They closed school out of an abundance of caution. Now they're asking for transparency and accountability.
All right, good afternoon.
During a press briefing Thursday, Fort Mill Superintendent Gray Young said the recent incidents at Silfab is negatively impacting operations at Flint Hill Elementary. The facility is less than a mile from the school.
Based on this, the district is calling for a complete and immediate shutdown of the Silfab Solar facility.
South Carolina Department of Environmental Services issued a directive to Silfab Solar to cease all operations.
The urgency of this issue was underscored on Tuesday and again this morning.
South Carolina State Representative David Martin was in Columbia Thursday morning testifying about a bill he introduced in response to Silfab Solar. Bill 4293 allows local governments to immediately halt industrial projects if they are found to be in violation of zoning regulations. Representative Martin not mincing words regarding safety concerns.
I don't trust anything Silfab says at this point. They've had every opportunity to do the right thing in this community for over 2 years. I have been advocating for a full stoppage at that facility, and they move elsewhere.
And a reminder, the school will remain closed on Friday as district leaders work to monitor the situation. Back to you.
And again, this is a live picture of the Silfab Solar facility as we await for this press conference to begin. Our crew on scene says they are just waiting for it to start. So when that does happen, we'll bring that to you here on Live Impact News as well as WCNC Charlotte. In the meantime, a lot of the sound bites you heard in Shaban's story and recap from yesterday's press conference from Fort Mill Superintendent and the school district speaking after Flint Hill Elementary had to shut down yesterday as well as today. We're going to go to this now. If you missed any of it, we'll play this for you. And again, once that press conference starts, we will break into it immediately. But for now, here is yesterday's press conference from school leaders in Fort Mill.
This morning at approximately 8:50 a.m., the superintendent contacted York County Emergency Management to determine if any reports had been made and if there was an active issue taking place at the site. We were initially informed that there was no active issue ongoing. The superintendent received a call at 6:53 from York County Emergency Management that there was a minor leak at the plant, and they indicated that they did not believe that this presented a danger to the community. However, they could not confirm this with absolute certainty until they arrived on site. Therefore, the district made the decision to close Flint Hill Elementary School for the day as a precaution. At the time of the decision, the building was not open to students yet. Staff and parents were immediately notified of the closure, and the district began implementing reunification process for students who had utilized bus transportation that morning. Buses were transported to Pleasant Knoll Middle School. Staff and Flint Hill Elementary, district staff and Flint Hill Elementary staff went to Pleasant Knoll Middle School to assist with the reunification for the students. We began dismissing students to their parents shortly after 9 a.m. this morning. We were able to serve breakfast and lunch to these students as they waited to be dismissed, provided by our student nutrition department. Approximately 300 students were dismissed to their parents safely through our reunification process that took place at Pleasant Knoll Middle School today. At this time, Superintendent Young will share a few remarks, and he will be followed by Board Chair Spears. I apologize. I might have said 8:50 this morning with the first call to York County Emergency Management. It was at 5:50 a.m. this morning.
All right, good afternoon. First of all, I want to thank our students and parents for their patience and their cooperation this morning. We apologize for the inconvenience and the unease the closure has caused our families and staff. To Principal Michelle Greitz and her amazing administration and staff, I want to thank you for your positive response and your leadership with our students this morning. I would also like to thank our transportation department, our school safety department, school nutrition, and the countless members of our district staff that helped with the reunification process. Our district also appreciates the assistance we received from the Fort Mill Police Department, the York County Sheriff's Department, York County Emergency Management, as well as our Board of Trustees members. Interestingly enough, I was in Columbia this morning to testify in support of Representative Martin's bill that is related to this issue. But given these events, I returned to Fort Mill before I had the opportunity to testify. Representative Martin did read my statement. Here are some of the points that I had planned to make at the hearing. In education, our primary responsibility is to ensure a safe and healthy learning environment for every student. We currently have a new elementary school in operation and a middle school opening later this year, both located adjacent to a manufacturing facility that the Board of Zoning Appeals has ruled was improperly zoned. Our district has dedicated significant staff hours and taxpayer resources towards safety initiatives to mitigate related safety concerns. The urgency of this issue was underscored on Tuesday and again this morning, when within weeks of receiving its certificate of occupancy, this facility experienced a chemical spill and a chemical leak on site. Today's events caused the district to close Flint Hill Elementary School as a precautionary measure. These incidents have caused significant concern among our parents and our community and have disrupted our school operations. Based on this, the district is calling for a complete and immediate shutdown of the Silfab Solar facility. We understand that South Carolina Department of Environmental Services has issued a directive to Silfab Solar to cease all operations by 4 p.m. today. At this time, I would like to turn it over to Chairwoman Spears, who has some additional remarks.
Thank you. On behalf of the board, I want to reiterate our appreciation to all the groups that Superintendent Young mentioned. This has been a true team effort, and our thanks go to the superintendent and his team who have led us through these challenges of the last few days with calm and strong leadership. We know this is a difficult time for the community. Understandably, the emotions and frustrations are very high at this moment, as they are for all of us. We've continued to work with the regulatory agencies that have oversight and authority regarding the safe operation of this plant. It is our responsibility to provide a safe and healthy environment for our students. And in light of these events, it is imperative that the regulatory agencies take swift action to protect our students and our staff. The school board fully supports the directive issued today for this facility to immediately cease all operations. Thank you.
Before I open it up to questions, I would like to mention that a decision at this time, we are continuing to assess the situation as we receive updates. We'll make announcements regarding that as soon as possible. At this time, I'm going to open it up for questions. If you don't mind, please raise your hand. I will call on you for your question. And keep in mind that the district can only answer questions about district operations. We're not able to answer questions about emergency response, permitting, zoning, or operations of commercial facilities. Yes, sir.
Andrew Dice, the Herald, Rock Hill. Thank you for having me today. I think it's important that you go over again the timeline about when the Fort Mill School District was first told about today's spill, leak, call it what you will. We need to know, the public needs to know, when was the school district told about it, when was the decision made to close the school, and why was there any kind of time lapse in between 1 to 2?
Yes, so I'll begin first with when we received the report. It was during the middle of the night. We received the report from
Who is we?
The superintendent, as I said in here, the superintendent received a report from a community member that there may be an issue ongoing at Silfab Solar.
May I interrupt? Did the school district or the superintendent contact law enforcement and say, we have received this message?
No, the superintendent did not send that message on through. As it was said, the individual was advised to send their message to 911, which is the proper authority to report these instances to. The superintendent has absolutely no authority, and the district has absolutely no authority to dispatch anyone, to put anybody in place to handle this situation. That is what 911 is for, and York County Emergency Management is for. Anytime that there is a situation like this, that is who should be reported to. Having said that, that was shared with the member that they should report this to 911. We were not unclear whether that actually happened, which is why we reached out to York County Emergency Management at 5:50 a.m. this morning to see if there were any reports and if in fact those reports were real. During that call, we were told that, I'll read this again, York County Emergency Management informed us that there was no active issue at the site at 5:50 a.m. We continued to make updates and checks and have conversations as a school district. We got the superintendent received an additional call at 6:53 a.m. from York County Emergency Management. At that time, they confirmed there was a minor leak at the plant, and they indicated that it did not believe it presented a danger to the community. However, they could not confirm that until they arrived on site at Silfab.
It begs the question, who told York County Emergency Management, if they weren't there, that there was a leak this morning?
That would have to be a question for York County Emergency Management. I can't answer that question for you. The school district called to ask if there have been any reports.
They told you, they told you at 6:53 there was a minor leak at the plant.
Absolutely.
Someone had to tell them that.
I think you need to ask them that question, who told them that. Again, We are not the reporting agency. We are dealing with our school sites. Okay. They would have to answer the question how they made that determination, because again, they told us there was not an active incident and then later told us there was. So what happened between that window that they investigated to find out there was would have to be answered by York County Emergency Management.
Understood.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you talk through why classes were canceled today and not also on Tuesday when we had that much larger spill? And were there conversations after that of what are we going to do if something like this happens again? Would it be another closure?
Yes, in regards to the Tuesday situation that happened, at that time we were in immediate contact with York County Emergency Management when we learned of the issue. They were very clear at that time. They knew what the spill was, they knew what the contaminant was, and that this did not pose a concern to the community. They were on site at the time of providing that information to us, whereas this time around we were not able to get that concrete confirmation. So that was the reason for allowing the school to continue to operate, because at that time we had clear and concrete information that it was safe to do so at the time. Yes, sir.
Hey, Michael with WTV. We have a stop in operations at Silfab. Does that mean testing will continue at the school, air, ground tests? What
Yes.
does that monitoring look like, and any testing that will continue or stop?
Yes, our commitment that we've done, performed with Citadel EHS is ongoing. The 24-hour continuous air quality monitoring equipment has actually been in place since January and operating. We still have the schedule that we'll be working out for the periodic testing that goes along with that. Actually, we have already be coming on the calendar here very shortly, the next round of that, so we will assess any needs to make any changes there. So yes, that is a continuing project with the district regardless of what takes place at this time.
I'd also ask about the emotional toll. Parents, students have clearly been concerned about this and upset about this. Any plans to provide counselors and what's being done about the...
Actually, yes, I can tell you that Principal Greitz and her staff have already put that in place. If students return to school tomorrow, we'll have counseling in place. Even if they don't return to school tomorrow, we will make sure they have options to reach out and talk to somebody. We actually had staff that were working with students today that were having some emotional issues while they were dealing with the situation as being part of reunification. So yes, that is absolutely part of the district's response plan in any emergency situation, to be honest, and will continue as part of this one as well, too. Yes, sir.
Thanks, Jeff. So the elementary was closed today out of precaution. The construction on the middle school next door was proceeding throughout the day. So I wanted to find out, was there any discussion as far as whether the work that's being done on the middle school should have been suspended for the day?
So the work that's being done there is also being provided by outside contractors. They would make determinations of whether they would pull their staff off. We have not had those conversations with them at this time, so I'd have to check and see what determinations they made. I don't know if they continued working or not working today. We would have to look into that. Yes, ma'am.
Now that you have another middle school coming into the area, this is where a lot of students are going to be in the area. How can you guarantee student safety if more students are going to be coming here and we don't know what the future is going to be if Silfab continues operations?
Well, I think you heard a very clear statement from our superintendent and from our board chair. We're asking that operations cease at this facility and that it no longer move forward with operations. Hang on, she actually had her hand up first.
Anything you want to say to parents right now who are still shaken up there?
Absolutely. As you heard, both Superintendent and Chairwoman Spears mentioned that obviously we know this has caused concern. We know that this has caused concern before today, but actually having these events happen is going to cause even more concern and unease. And we want to make sure we know that our district and school staff will be there for both our families and our parents, and that at this point, in light of the events that have actually taken place, the district will remain committed to seeing the ceasing of operations at the facility. Yes, sir.
My question is for Representative Martin, if I may, since you're here, Representative Martin.
So,
you've pushed against this for a long time, including the last 3 days. However, the school district and the South Carolina Department of Environmental Services and York County Emergency Management have either given mixed messages or not given accurate information for 3 days. The initial spill was the release number was 1530, and it took you calling them for them to correct it, make it 300. The concern is Silfab, and I'm asking, Silfab is providing this information, correct?
I believe so, yes.
How do we know that it's accurate? How does anyone watching this, reading this, out there have any idea that what Silfab is telling York County Emergency Management, South Carolina Department of Environmental Services, or the school district is accurate today?
Great question. I don't trust anything Silfab says at this point. They've had every opportunity to do the right thing in this community for over 2 years. I have been advocating for a full stoppage at that facility, and they move elsewhere. When they got the order from SCDES that they could no longer what they called commission equipment, meaning that you're testing equipment to get it ready for some type of production, which DES says is 6 months from now. They had the opportunity to stop that. And then it is clear that this morning there was some other type of leak that occurred with hydrofluoric acid, from what I understand. So I don't really trust what I'm being told from Silfab. I have not actually heard verification that it was 1530 or 300. Nobody has came to me and said.
It looks like this press conference at Silfab is just getting underway. About to, the Director of Operations, Greg Basden, now speaking. Let's listen in on Live Impact News and WCNC Charlotte.
So let's be clear, Silfab Solar, we're extremely committed to operating safe and secure facilities. We have more than a 40-year legacy of one that's focused on safety and producing high-quality solar panels. It's from this long history of safe operations that we were given the recent events very serious attention. Let me also tell you, this is where I live. I'm a resident of York County. Me, like the other 700 employees, we're all committed to ensuring safe operations at Silfab. It's unfortunate that significant amounts of misinformation that's been put in the public domain, and it's our responsibility to set the record straight. So let me address the 2 incidents that have happened this week. But before I do that, just give you a brief update of the current status of our operations. We've been in constant contact with DES and with York County officials, and based on the review of the facts and where we are with our investigation, we've chosen to pause operations. So we shut down operations yesterday, last night, and again today. We anticipate, through discussions that we're having with DES and the county, and we anticipate starting back up operations tonight at 6:30. Again, we're working closely with regulators to keep everyone informed of our operations. So now, with that out of the way, let's talk about what happened Tuesday. Tuesday's accidental release of approximately 300 gallons of water containing small amounts of potassium hydroxide. And just, the leak occurred, it came from our wet acid scrubber in this area. And just want to clarify one thing. What was originally reported when we made the call up through emergency services that said we had a problem, we reported worst case conditions. The scrubber holds over 1,500 gallons. At the time, we weren't quite sure initially how big the leak was. Only after our investigation started, we estimated the leakage was at 300 gallons. I know that was one of the things that's been confusing in some of the reporting, so I just wanted to clarify that. When we first discovered the leak, our first step was to contain it. Once it became clear that it needed more support, we called in York County Emergency Services and shared with them this worst case scenario. But let me emphasize that at no time during this event were any employees or the public put at risk for this incident. In fact, this was immediately or very quickly confirmed by emergency personnel who, when they were on site, who determined that there was no immediate threat. And at least the quick response, they left soon after. After that, we called in a company, a contractor, the experts in cleaning up. They cleaned up this area for us. And then after that, based off of the 300 gallons and in communication with DES, we made a decision that we would clean the pipe that runs from the culvert all the way to the retention pond. We decided it's best to drain the retention pond. In fact, we're doing that right now. The draining should be completed this afternoon. And then the next step will be a skim level of soil remover. Again, this is worst case, just in case scenario. During this incident, the whole time, we were in direct communications with DES and the county. Lastly, working with DES, we committed to share our results in the form of a report. We owe that to them on Tuesday the 10th. So at this time, it's premature to get into any details in the specifics of the investigation and the corrective measures. So now let's move on to what happened yesterday. It was reported that we had a new leak of hydrofluoric acid, which created a lot of attention. Here's what actually happened. Last week, the end of last week, when we received the first shipment of HF, several thousand gallons, and it's stored in the third door over there, we offloaded, and part of our follow-up inspections, we recognized very small drip that was occurring at the base of the tank. There's a bulkhead that has a flange that attached to it. We communicated with the vendor who we purchased the tank from. They recommended we tighten the flange. We did, and it reduced the leak. Unfortunately, it didn't completely eliminate it. It brought it down to roughly 1 drop an hour. The plan forward is we will be transferring the HF. We have another tank in there. We'll transfer it to that other tank. Again, these decisions were made last Friday. When we found the drip, we immediately contained it, absorbent mat, neutralizer, and at the rate that it's dripping, it far from required any communications in our reaction plans. The fact that it's neutralized, the fact that it's contained inside of a 100% containment building that qualifies as it wasn't necessary to communicate it. Again, this happened last week, but word came out about it yesterday. Again, at no time, even during this trip, were our employees or any of the community put at risk. One thing I failed to mention earlier, inside that room, we have what we call TGMS, a toxic gas monitoring system. We have a system that's specifically designed to look and read any unhealthy HF levels. And we have basically 0 recordings on that. So it's a safe environment, even though we have that very small drip. With all that in mind, you know, it's been a struggle for us to understand why this elevated to a point that resulted in school closures. Let me be clear. We follow state and federal protocols and procedures to alert authorities. We followed the protocols on Tuesday. We followed the protocols last Friday when the drip was initially found. If and when a situation develops that requires an alert and a response, we'll make those calls right away. That's exactly what we did on Tuesday. So this never even began to rise to a notification level. Silfab strongly disputes the classification of this brief negligible drip as either a leak or a major incident. Again, it never rose to a level that would prompt or should prompt the school district to cancel classes on 2 concurrent days. It's unfortunate that the school district decided to cancel without having all the details. Again, I can't express enough, Silfab, we continue to work closely and cooperatively with all parties, especially DES and the county. Finally, let me tell you that we do have evidence that 1 or more individuals have trespassed on our property and likely provided parties with false information that may have contributed to needlessly alarming the public and spreading misinformation. We have turned this information over to local law enforcement, and we will press charges. I want to express my sincere apology and concern to the parents. I know your lives were disrupted. It's unfortunate, but it could have been, it wasn't necessary. I want to wrap up before questions with really three things that are so important. We're committed to a safe operation, 100%. We continue and we will work closely with DES, with the county, and the EPA. You know, we look forward to a visit from them. They will be here next week, and they're going to be auditing our risk management plan. We welcome that. And then lastly, it goes without saying, you know, Silfab will investigate what, if any, steps are needed to prevent anything like this from happening in the future. So that's the end of the prepared statement. We'll start with questions.
My name's Andrew Dice from Harold and Rock Hill. First of all, thank you for having us here today. My first question is, you said that a week ago today, the drip was found, yet it's not required to communicate your word, that drip, leak, your words to anyone. Whether or not that is the case, did you or did Silfab or did Silfab not tell York County or DES or anyone else in an official capacity a week ago today that there was an HF leak at drip and or leak at your plant?
Thank you for that question. And to answer it, we did not communicate that explicitly.
Is there a reason why?
Because it far from qualified the requirement for us to communicate that.
Whether there's a requirement, excuse me for asking or taking another question, but whether there's a legal requirement or a protocol requirement to tell someone in an official capacity or not, did you not believe, Silfab not believe, that it was in the best interest of public perception and safety to know there was a drip a week ago?
We followed the procedures. We have a reaction plan that we've shared with the regulating bodies. They've accepted that reaction plan, and a drip, if you of that magnitude, far from qualifies from notification.
What would you say to parents who say that it doesn't belong here, this close to the school, and that they want y'all gone? They want y'all not in this area. What would you say to those parents?
So, appreciate the question. My response to that would be what we've been saying all along. I mean, we are proud to be here. We have over 700 people that work here now. We have significant levels of safety protocols that are in place. Many areas of redundancy where necessary. And in addition to that, you know, we do have the procedures and policies in place for reaction to anything that's non-standard, including the events that happened this week.
So they're concerned about being this close to the school, or the plant being this close to the school, the parents' concerns, or are you trying to help them say that you should be here?
I think we this facility and all the equipment has been approved. It's been tested. It's been validated. We have all the permits, and it's unfortunate that the parents have concerns. But again, I mean, if it were unsafe, I wouldn't be here. If this was an unsafe plant, you know, we would not have brought in 700 people to work here. These 700 people live in this community. They have kids, they have families, they have relatives. A lot of the kids go to the same schools that some of the parents are concerned.
We got insight at WCNC. We got insight that there was an emergency call on February 19th, so about 2 weeks ago, and it said a woman in her 40s called with confusion, difficulty breathing. Do you know anything about that?
I can't remember the date. We did have we've had a couple of emergency responses that have come, and every one of them has been tied to a personal illness that had nothing to do with any of our operations.
And then lastly, is this to have 2 incidents in 1 week? Is this out of the ordinary? Is this something, do you usually have minor spills, like you said, in Mount Florida? It just seems like you said, it's blowing up a little bit.
Well, it is blowing up, right? And I would say that it's unexpected, okay? But I will say that in manufacturing, in handling with tanks and piping, it's not unusual to, even after testing, it's not unusual to see very small drips. That's why we inspect, when we fill tanks, we inspect every connection to look for those things.
So to be clear, this drip happened during the delivery, and then a follow-up question, how often in the last month, however long, how often does that happen?
So it happened not during, it was notified after the delivery. The delivery process, I mean, it took a couple hours to offload, and it was after the delivery when our facility team was doing their required inspections of the system, including the piping, they detected drip.
So how often, you said that that's not unusual, how frequently does that happen?
But it's first time it's happened here.
You know, yesterday, House representatives started meeting about a proposed bill to revoke zoning permits, and then also today, York County Council are meeting about the legality of such things. What is your response to so many government boards thinking about what your future holds?
It's a great question, and quite honestly, I don't have a response to that. But I will tell you that, you know, we have representation that are supporting us, and they continue to be in discussions with county and DES officials.
You said this leak happened a week ago. Why did this come out yesterday? Why didn't it come out right away from your point of view? How did this come to be? And you did hint that people have been, you said you have evidence of people trespassing and sharing false information. Were you referring to the incident of the quote-unquote HF drip? Is that the
We've had other incidents, but that's the most recent.
Okay.
That's the most recent. There are photographs that showed up, you know, that were taken in the middle of the night. Photographs of that door down there, you know, that has identification. Part of our process when we recognize that we had this small drip, there's several things we have to do, right? We contain it, and one of the things we do, we cordon off the area, right? And that includes identifying the door, do not come in here until we can resolve this. So there was a picture taken of that, and without understanding the context, it gets grossly misconstrued.
Another question. You said specifically, again, Andrew Dice from the Herald and the Charlotte Observer, glad you said specifically that Silfab has decided to reopen operations at 6:30 p.m. today. Is that right?
No, I said we anticipate and we look forward to opening, but we're waiting for feedback with the communications that are ongoing.
Feedback from whom? And I'm not trying to be difficult here. Silfab is either going to open at 6:30 or it is not. And the question for our readers is, should they be alerted to at 6:30 that production and or assembly will restart at Silfab today?
We're in discussions with DES in York County, and then based feedback from those discussions, you know, we'll be able to determine if we will open up for operations tonight.
Again, I appreciate your answer, but you didn't answer the question. Is the decision to reopen Silfab's, is it DES, is it York County, is it all three? Are you saying, and I want to make sure that I'm clear, are you saying that Silfab will decide to reopen? Or are you saying that DES or York County or both will tell you?
We are in collaboration with DES, And my expectation is the outcome of that will put us in a position to open up. I mean, make no mistake. I mean, I've got 200 plus people that I'm anxious to notify if they can come back to work tonight. So I look forward to that feedback. Yes, sir.
I got late in the conversation. Basically, I'm asking, like, how did the information get out there? You know, was it from an insider? Was it from someone who, like you said, like, who trespassed and got the information? How did the original call got out?
So I can't speak to the original call. I mean, I can tell you we're doing our own investigations, but I cannot answer that. What I can tell you is that I have personnel that have photographs of a drone hovering in this area. And that's likely where the information came from.
Two questions. I think the big thing here is trust among the community. How are you all going to move forward when it comes to, will there be additional communication with the school district and the county and officials? Will that be how you all move forward here?
I would say absolutely. I mean, we've been extremely transparent from the very beginning. I mean, I think if you, go back, this obviously has been a challenge in the community for some time, but Silfab has always been open and transparent in everything that we've done here. We've welcomed visitors, we've showed them around, we've got nothing to hide. And to answer your question, I would expect, that one of the outcomes will be more communication.
And then, so the second question, you said those types of leaks happen at manufacturing facilities. What proactive efforts are you all taking to ensure that may not happen again in the future, or the week we've had this week?
So that's a great question. As I said earlier, one of the things we're working through right now is we know we have a tank. It's brand new, it's been tested, but it has a very small drip, right? We have a second tank in that room just like it, but one of the reasons that we haven't transferred is we're gonna go through and test that tank again to make sure it's 100% no leaks, no drips before we transfer.
Kevin from WCNC once again. Just again, what will you say to reassure parents that this plant is not a threat to the school and their children's health? What will you say to them to reassure them that?
So two answers. One is across the board in general, we built this plant with a significant level of controls and to ensure safety of our employees and and the community. And I just want to clarify one thing. The startup that we anticipate, is go back to what we've been doing. I mean, we've been in operation for 4+ months. And the operations that we anticipate starting up right now doesn't require a lot of what you see right here. Okay? So what we anticipate is to start back up right now, some cell manufacturing, cell assembly, and our module lines, just like we've been running safely with no issues for 4 months.
Another question, if I may. Your words, we've got nothing to hide. Again, a week ago today, Silfab found there was a leak, a drip of hydrofluoric acid. Whether or not you had a requirement to notify York County, DES, or anybody else, the community that you sit near did not know about that until after the first leak. Silfab did not say on Tuesday or Wednesday or even Thursday that there was a leak that had been going on and this was the issue. Why did it take so long to tell the public that you yourself just said you're a member of, that there was this issue?
Great.
I'm sorry.
What will be helpful, because I know a lot of people have questions about the drip. So what we're going to do, we're going to show you all, because this is a literal drip. So we're going to show you all that drip, so that everyone understands that it is a drip.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, but that's
the question remains. The question remains. The management of Silfab
noon, a week ago today, there was a drip of HF, whatever that is. And only after a first spill release of a different chemical, and then public information that came out that there was this drip 6 days later, now 7 days later, you are saying, yes, it happened, but we didn't have to tell you. How can the community expect that so, again, your words, we've got nothing to hide?
Again, and I'll be glad to show you the drip, we're talking extremely small. I mean, less than, I mean, we did the math over a 5-day period. It's like 3 tablespoons total is all it is. And we're not obligated to share that. And then the whole, as we look at risk, as we assess risk, I mean, the communication level for communicating a problem, say, is here. This issue was very, very low, and it didn't warrant that communication.
All right, you've been listening to Director of Operations there at Silfab Solar over the last 30 minutes, both here on WCNC Charlotte and streaming on WCNC Plus, attempting to play down the dangers of what some have described as a leak, others have described as a spill. He just described as a drip. But 2 different incidents over the last week, saying that they're waiting feedback from state regulators there in South Carolina, but they're expecting to restart operations, and they're hoping to do that by 6:30 tonight. That director reminding folks watching that some 700 people are employed at this plant, and that they're the neighbors of the folks who live there in Fort Mill. And again, saying that the dangers have been greatly overstated, saying part of the drip that happened last week was only about 3 tablespoons of this hydrofluoric acid. So we're going to continue to keep an eye on that situation. We have a crew there listening to more what he had to say. It sounds like they might actually give us some sort of a tour and show that so-called drip / leak / spill. As soon as that happens, we'll let you know. Keep it right here on WCNC. We're back after this.
Made many in different forums to share what we're doing, to talk about our controls, our engineered controls to protect the community, the school children, and I mean, if there's a venue, and that would be helpful. I mean, we would definitely do that.
Just to be clear, you said you anticipate being able to resume operations at 6:30 in collaboration with DES and the county. Does that mean one of those bodies has given you reason to believe that that is possible? Have they communicated to you that is a possibility based on
That's a great question. I think the best way to answer that is we're collaborating, and I mean, I'm a production guy. I want to run. I've got people that I want to bring to work. 200 plus people that come in tonight, and 500 people in total. And I'm optimistic that the groups that are having those discussions, you know, will reach a resolution that would allow us to start back up.
All right. We're going to have this one last one, and then we're going to wrap up so we can start seeing some of the items. Last question, if you're wrapping up. You said that you have been in good communication with the school district. The school district said in a news conference yesterday, their superintendent asked York County at 5:53 a.m. yesterday if there was a problem at Silfab Thursday. They said no. Less than an hour later, they got a call back from York County that said yes, there was a problem. Did you, meaning Silfab, call York County and say we have a problem yesterday? Who called York County to say yes, we do have a problem?
We got a call from York County. And asked we got a call from York County yesterday morning early, before 7 a.m. And the question was asked by York County EMS, because the picture I'll show you on the door over there, that picture made its way through social media, misconstrued. Question was asked, and then that's when Silfab responded about, we've had a small drip that's 100% contained.
All right. So from here, what we need to do, if I know we had some, your phones have been obscured. If we can keep them obscured, we cannot record inside of this building, but I want you all to fully witness and see with your own eyes what the drip looks like. We can't record in there because it's proprietary. It just is. Yes.
Can we record outside shooting?
I think that is a no. That is a no.
So you're just physically showing us.
I mean, just see with your own eyes.
Showing you no video.
Before we go and not record on this, one last question. What did you learn from this moment?
What did we learn?
Yes.
We learned that we put good systems in place. There's opportunities to make improvements across the board. Obviously, one of those is communication, and that's will be part of some of our corrective measures.
All right.
So this is just to show us.
This is just to show you so that you can report on what you see
Is this
yourself.
machine back here? Can we shoot this machine? You said this was.
It's in the background. I mean,
Black one?
yes, that's our wet acid scrubber.
And that's where the initial one happened.
That is correct. Okay.
All right, Greg, you want to do
Yeah.